Hey guys, DesolatorMagic here, and it's finally time. It is prime time to tell this story. If you've been following me on Twitter, you know exactly what is coming. My customers were complete and utter dicks this week, and I feel like crap. I was up at 4 a.m. throwing up like crazy. I'm also going to miss F&M tomorrow, and I hate everyone and everything, so it's the perfect opportunity to tell this story. So you guys obviously read the title. I have to start by saying this legitimately is not clickbait. I lost $1 million. Okay, this is not some euphemism or exaggeration or I don't even know what else you'd call it. Hyperbole, metaphor, some other crap from your English literature class, whatever. No, I pretty much lost $1 million. Well, maybe a better way to phrase it is I lost out on $1 million. I certainly could have had $1 million. This goes way back to the time of Bitcoins. I used to be really big into the Bitcoin community around late 2009 to early 2010. So if you know anything about that, you're probably already thinking, hey, that's right when you wanted to get into Bitcoins. No, about a year earlier, like I think late 2008 to really super early 2009 would have been the absolute ideal time. You wanted to get in right when GPU mining became big, and right when like the 5000 series of Radeon cards came out, because, well, I guess I'm going to have to explain Bitcoin, so if you already know what's up, just skip ahead a little bit or whatever. It's an alternative worldwide currency not run by a World Bank or anything. Well, not run by the World Bank, not interfered with by them. It runs itself, it completely operates itself, and technically nobody runs it. I mean, there is no operating, company or group or anything. Without getting into the math, because I'm a math and software programming specialist, and even I took like 2 days to understand this, they use like single directional non-reversible equations as like a proof of work thing involving like prime numbers similar to how encryption works. And at the end of the day, the only way to fake a transaction of sending Bitcoins to somebody, like to fake it, to fraudulently, steal theirs, change owner of it, duplicate, a transaction, anything like that, you would have to outprocess the entire rest of the network, which is impossible. That's like 100,000 computers worldwide, at least at the time. It was impossible, and the difficulty adjusted for the number of participants, so it's just absolutely brilliant. So people are thinking, oh, it's just a made-up currency online, who cares? Bitcoins are stupid, and people are just giving them value because they want it to work. But then it turns out the intrinsic value in Bitcoins is the fact that nobody can interfere with it. If I want to send $5 to somebody in Zimbabwe, I can do it. Nobody can stop me. It's, I wouldn't really say untraceable. It's quite honestly the opposite, but it's anonymous. There's no, $110 international bank wire transfer fee, which, believe it or not, is about what those cost. There's no PayPal fees. There's no PayPal locking down my account telling me that I can't send them money or, none of that. It's just I sent them Bitcoins at the end. And usually it will resolve in about 10 minutes. So it's fast. It's flawlessly secure if you use it correctly. And I mean, that's value. That, the fact that you can anonymously and securely send money with absolute confidence to anywhere in the world for next to no fee. I mean, just think about it. That has value. So, fast forward almost 10 years and ta-da, here we are. Bitcoins are worth a bit. They're currently sitting at like $720 per Bitcoin. I believe 12.5 Bitcoins are created every 10 minutes according to the cycle, and they're usually split amongst the participants that help mine them. So that's your like 1 minute Bitcoin primer. But way back then, nobody was into it. Everybody was disrespecting it. I thought, oh, this is neat. It just seems like something cool to do. I wanted to get into it as a hobby, not necessarily a moneymaker, because I didn't have a whole lot of confidence in it myself. One of the major exchanges that exchange US dollars for Bitcoins, it had hit like 25 or 35 bucks or something per Bitcoin, I think at one point, but then it got hacked and it hit a penny. A ton of Bitcoins were stolen. It was like a good fraction of the ones that existed, and people were like, this is it, but then they kind of recovered. I think it hit like 15 bucks, but then it started to go down because a lot of people were buying, high-end processors, then high-end graphics cards. And then every single Bitcoin that they mined was exchanged for dollars because they got to pay their electric bill and pay off the initial hardware. So I ran a mining rig. It was 2 overclocked Sapphire 5830s from Radeon. They were pretty nice. They were overclocked to about 121%, and I ran them full blast for something like 14 months, I think it was. So 24/7 for 14 months. And those cards never failed. I mean, I had like crazy cooling on them. And the whole time between that and some projects, I used to do some work for Bitcoins on the forums and that kind of stuff. No, I'm not going to go into details. But, I know computer hardware, obviously, so I helped out a lot of people on the forums, and they just send me, like, 0.1 Bitcoins or something for helping them out, got their rig to run faster, taught them how to overclock better, taught them how to cool their rig better, and it made them more money, so, it was typical to just send somebody some money as a tip, which, if you do that with PayPal, there's privacy concerns and, like, chargebacks and stolen accounts and all that. You do with Bitcoins is just hit send. I mean, that's why people love it. So at the end of all that, I owned approximately 92 Bitcoins. So in today's Bitcoin value, that's approximately $66,000, give or take. Now back then, though, I was actually mining at a loss on electricity. Bitcoins were about, $3.80, $4, something like that each. And to generate the amount that I was generating, it was costing more than that electricity. I was losing about 20%. So I think it would spend $41 per month on electricity and only make about 30 in Bitcoin, somewhere around there. So I just outright refused to sell the Bitcoins, but I'm sitting there paying for all the electricity. So right around this time, I was going to open up my shop. It wasn't open yet at the time. This was years and years ago. I was having trouble getting a loan because my credit history was just like empty. And, my bank had problems with the corporate loans and stuff. It's a long story. So I needed money, got to buy furniture, got to buy, lovely posters to go on the wall, got to buy inventory, So I decided I'm going to sell off all my Bitcoins. And plus, they had hit a year-long high of $5.25. So $5.25 per Bitcoin. So I sold, the computer, the motherboard, the cards, all that, got a couple hundred for that, which was cool because it was actually really close to what I paid for them. So that was nice. Now, about 45 of my Bitcoins were completely eliminated when one of the major exchanges got shut down by the FBI because they just barely exceeded the volume that they'd be required to register as an official exchange, like a Wall Street style one. And the FBI just swooped in. They were waiting for it and they just shut them down. So I completely missed the window to file a claim to get my money back, and they had run out of funds by then. And the owner of the site knew me personally because I was really famous in the Bitcoin community. And unfortunately, he said he could maybe help me out, but it was quite a bit of Bitcoins. So 45 Bitcoins completely gone. The remaining 40, 41, 38, whatever it was, we'll just say 40. The remaining 40, they were sold off on MTGOX, which, believe it or not, was originally the Magic the Gathering online exchange, but I don't remember if it ever actually launched. But then they sold the domain name and became, just basically MTGOX instead of MTGOX or whatever. And you could exchange Bitcoins for money on it. It was the biggest exchange run in Japan. Well, about, 2 or 3 years before MTGOX had the CEO embezzling and stealing money, lying to people, losing money, getting hacked, and just, oh my God. Seriously, if somebody hasn't shot that guy yet, and if he's not in prison, I don't even want to follow up because I don't even want to know. But yeah, the CEO did some shenanigans and they had to close down, and a lot of people with funds at MTGOX lost their money too. So I dodged that bullet by, getting the money out. And then there was a PayPal exchanger in New Zealand. He was nice enough to do it for little to no fees. Swapped it out so I didn't have to pay the international EFT fees except for the, New Zealand dollar exchange rate. And ta-da, I've got a couple $100 US. I mean, it was like $250, $300 for the hardware and then $210 for the Bitcoins. I thought, oh, that's cool. I mean, between that and all the electricity, I think I had just about broken even. So it was pretty much 14 months of completely wasted time. I mean, it was fun. I did it as a hobby and it didn't cost me anything. And I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm going to make millions or anything. It was just fun. I mean, honestly, it was like building a nuclear reactor in your basement. It was just so super cool because I had a supercomputer running hashing algorithms. Now, right around, I want to say 14 months later, Bitcoin just spiked. It got so much press coverage, so much interest. It was stable for so long. The price was going up that a bunch of Wall Street people, a bunch of, Asian companies, people talking about ASICs, which are a new type of processor that's specific to Bitcoin, kind of, that's drastically inaccurate, but you get it. It was just getting famous and people were buying into it. Plus, there was a ton of drug stuff going on in Bitcoins, unfortunately. That drove up the price because now you got people on the buying end of it. They want to take their US dollars and convert them into Bitcoins. And then I guess the drug dealers wanted to hold Bitcoins because it's too hard to launder them back into US dollars. So the price went up, and I believe on MTGOX or maybe a minor exchange, it hit right around $1,300. Here, I'll do the math for you. If I would have had all 92 of those Bitcoins sitting in a local wallet and just storing them and that's it, I would have been able to sell them for $119,600. So we'll just say $120,000. But wait a minute, Desolator. You said that you lost $1 million. You mean you lost 10 times as much as that epic screw up? Why, yes. Yes, I did. Here's where it gets worse. I still had my donation address on the forum, and Bitcoins had fallen back down quite a bit. Once they hit 1,300, which let's just stop there for a second. I never would have known to sell them at 1,300. Nobody knew that was the ceiling. I mean, even when they fell back to 900, nobody knew if they were going to swoop back up. So realistically, when there was a pretty good plateau at $650, I probably would have sold them off for that. But, potentially I would have been like, okay, 1,300 magic number, sell. It's unrealistic, but hey. Anyway, somebody had sent me some fraction of a Bitcoin. I think I had been holding it in my wallet file since like maybe a couple months after I sold off all my Bitcoins, because it kind of stayed active on the forum, helped some people out. I think it leveled out at like 10 or 15 bucks per Bitcoin, and I helped somebody out like majorly. It might have been the guy where I actually contributed a really, really important change to the first FPGA that was being made, which is a new type of processor, sort of. So he was nice enough to send me like, $7.50 for saving him hundreds of thousands of dollars from a flawed design. Okay, it was one forum post and anybody could have caught that. Anyway, he got stomped by ASICs, which are way faster. So I was sitting on 0.5 Bitcoins or 0.1 or something, whatever it was. And then I heard about this new alternative cryptocurrency that was based on Bitcoin, but it used a script instead of like SHA 256 or whatever the hell the other one uses. And that was more friendly to graphics cards and processors and all that. It was faster. Every 2.5 minutes it cycled instead of every 10 minutes. And the database was much more lightweight. So it was popular. It seemed superior. I'm like, well, I kind of missed the Bitcoin train, sort of. But just in case, I'm going to install the like ultra, barely beta, mostly alpha version of the Litecoin wallet. And then I found out there was actually a flaw if you ran both wallet programs or something like that, or it was not compatible with some other software I was running. So I thought, okay, instead of installing the Litecoin software on like a second computer, which I definitely had, I had like at least 3 or 4 laying around. I decided, I'll just hold the funds on this brand new exchange that just opened, and they're the first ever to handle Litecoins. They were the first ones to roll it out, because nobody took it seriously, and Litecoins were worth like nothing, because, it was the start of the currency, nobody was mining it, so you could generate just a ridiculous amount. So my 0.5 Bitcoins was sent to the exchange, and I traded it in for around 30,000 Litecoins, because they were just like, I don't know, 1,000th of a penny or some dumb thing. I thought, hey, that would be cool. It was around 30,000 Litecoins. If they ever take off, even if they're a penny, I mean, think about that. 30,000 pennies? That's $300 right there. Now, I never thought that would realistically happen because Litecoin was considered a meta currency of Bitcoins at the time. They were both based on US dollars, but whenever Bitcoin fluctuated, Litecoin fluctuated to match. So, it wasn't really going anywhere. It was worth what it was worth as far as I was concerned. But I thought, in the distant future, 5-10 years, I'll have it. So, I probably should have stored those Litecoins in a wallet file instead of on the exchange. I realized in, I don't even know, 2013, 2014, I mean, it was maybe 2012, after the big giant Bitcoin spike. I checked the, price of Litecoins. I was kind of watching that. I was going to get back into mining those because it was easier to do with a graphics card, which is a lot cheaper than an ASIC. And then I thought, hey, wait a minute. I own a bunch of these. I think I found it by searching for the word Litecoin in my email because I had lost an email. And then I saw like an original one from that exchange saying, hey, yeah, your thing went through. It was, 0.5 Bitcoins for like 30,000 Litecoins or however many it was. And I was like, oh my God, You know what Litecoins were worth at the time? I mean, I don't even remember, but it was a lot. Like if I had 30,000 of them, it was above $1. So I was like, okay, let's go see if I can log into this website. Turns out the website was gone. It disappeared. I mean, it either got shut down, hacked, the owners ran off with the money. I don't even know. I couldn't even find out what happened to the site, but it was gone. And also my 30,000 Litecoins were gone. So you're probably thinking, okay, if Litecoins are a meta currency of Bitcoins, when Bitcoins hit $1,300, how much was every Litecoin worth? $38. Okay, let's just do a little $1.14 million. So, add in the 120 grand I could have made on Bitcoins if I would have held them, and we're looking at $1.25 million. So I could have had $1.26 million. So, that kind of sucks a little bit. So, when ASICs really got big and, there was like the ant miners and all that, I finally picked up like a used ant miner S5 for like a really good price. 600 watts nonstop, overclocked, ran it on 2 FSP Aurum Gold power supplies, which are like amazing, hyper efficient, love them. I ran it all winter because I have to pay for electric heat anyway at my apartment, so a 600 watt like space heater running hashing algorithms made perfect sense. So I was effectively running it for zero, and all winter plus a little bit of like spring, a little bit of fall. I made a couple $100. I mean, I probably almost made $1,000, which is pretty cool. And then I sold the ASIC because I got a really good deal. I sold it for a pretty good fraction of what I had paid initially. Now that was right when Bitcoins were worth about $400 a piece, around there. They're floating in like 720 right now, and I currently am sitting on 0.3 Bitcoins, give or take. So, 100 and change US. So I don't think, even if it spiked up to what it's honestly supposed to be at right now post-split, which is 900, I'm still not exactly going to be rich, but, a couple tens of dollars here and there difference compared to, $1.25 million? I really don't care. So I think unless Publishers Clearinghouse shows up to my apartment, which honestly would be pretty hard to get through the front door, it's pretty secure, but they come through the chimney. We don't have a damn chimney. They get to my door at my apartment and knock on it, and they're like, haha, you've won $100 billion, or whatever the hell they give away. And then they're like, oh, wrong person. Then they kick me in the nuts, and then it goes viral, and I also answered the door in my underwear. And then that's all over YouTube as the unluckiest person in America. I think that would top this, but otherwise I think that's rock bottom for my life so far. I honestly don't think a thing less fortunate could happen. Like, I got it over with. It's all, like, I don't know if you'd say uphill or downhill from here. I don't know, downhill, I guess? It's all on the upswing instead of the downslide, because you downslide pretty far from $1.25 million. So that's my story for the day. Pretty much the best story I've got as far as anything that's ever happened to me. I mean, I actually got some pretty weird stories, but this one takes the cake. So in conclusion, I just have to mention that to the guy who's cleverly going to say in the comments section, yeah, but you would have had to pay taxes on that. You would have lost about 42%. I swear to God. I swear I will climb inside your comment and I will burn it down from the inside. I will climb inside of YouTube servers. I will matrix into the back of my skull, dial into the YouTube matrix, find your comment, and freaking burn it. Okay, open up the fortune cookie on this one. It says, I would have been happy with $600,000 too, okay? Just frickin' FYI, in case you wouldn't have, estimated that part of it. So as always, if you have a funny story about losing over $1 million, leave it down in the comments section so we can all laugh at it and, feel awful together. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go dig in my backyard to try and find Nazi gold because that's the only way I'm ever going to make this up to myself. You're probably thinking to yourself, why the hell would Nazis bury gold in Wisconsin? Get a shovel and help me or shut the hell up. I'll see you guys next video.